Why do you think most multiplayer games do not hold longevity like they used to in the old days?
Alright, Damon, I got you. I think the reason that multiplayer games do not hold their weight like they used to back in the day is a simple answer. I feel like we as a society have become spoiled, at least in the first world. Back in the day, I can remember the first online game that I ever played is SOCOM Fireteam Bravo, and then SOCOM Fireteam Bravo 2 on the PSP. I know. What? Your first online experience was on the PSP? Oh man, it was magical, bro. Me and my homie Carter, boy, we was in high school. Fucking this is back before there was, like, I think Xbox Live had just came out. But besides Xbox Live, there was no real like party system or friends list or like no type of ecosystem to help you party up with people. So back then, I remember like Carter was in my computer class, my computer science. Was it computer? It was some computer class. I don't know. We wasn't doing no computer work. All I know is we were playing Flash games on Miniclip. Shout out to Miniclip if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I remember we'd be in class every day and like we'd be playing. We were like SOCOM addicts, and like I said, this is before friendless and all this other shit. And you basically had to, we'd be like, yo, let's meet up on PSP at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So then both of us would get on at 6 p.m. And then they didn't have like a Xbox Live friends list, but they had an in-game friends list. So you basically had to wait for your friend to appear online and shit like that. And that shit was just magical. The gameplay was awesome. Still one of my favorite games ever. I did play SOCOM 1 and 2 on the PS2 eventually, but believe it or not, my first SOCOM experience was on the PSP, and those games were still great. I wish they would bring back the Fireteam Bravo series. It was fucking awesome. But the point being is, back then you had to jump through all these hoops and do all this other shit, and then on top of that, that's like the only, at least at the beginning of the PSP's lifespan, that's like the only online game that I could think of that actually had online support. There wasn't a lot of online support for PS2 games, and there were like a few, like on the Xbox, they just had Halo basically. Like there wasn't. What I'm trying to get at is there wasn't as much content back then. So if you had a copy of Halo, you had to play Halo, and that's what we used to play all fucking day. We used to have LAN parties all fucking night on the weekend, up till 3, 4, 5 a.m. and the shit. Same thing. We play SOCOM till 3, 4, 5 a.m. and the shit. That's all we had. That's all we had to play. Versus today, I mean, to be honest, if you're a console gamer, this doesn't necessarily. No, maybe if you're only a console gamer, this could apply to you too. I don't know. I don't want to say that specifically, but I know at least if you have a gaming PC, there are games that come out every day on Steam, bruh. Games come out every fucking day. Think about that. We went from like the early 2000s and the 90s to getting a few games a year to every fucking day games come out. And these games aren't necessarily shitty. It's hard to keep up with all this shit. There's too much content. The streets are being flooded. It's like your favorite trap rapper, yo, flood the streets. The streets is being flooded by game developers, mostly indie game developers, and on top of that, you have your typical AAA experiences. And then let's take into account back when we were kids, DLC wasn't even a thing. DLC counts as content. You got people out there that are into, like, take the Destiny community, for example. I don't want to say all Destiny players are like this, but I'm sure a lot of Destiny players don't give a fuck that Spider-Man and Super Smash Bros. And Red Dead Redemption are coming out. All they care about is that Forsaken expansion that's coming out to Destiny 2 in its September. That's content, bruh. There's so many different types of forms of content for us to absorb, and it's hard to keep up with it all. And that's why I feel like a lot of games fall to the wayside. Not necessarily because they're bad, but we as humans, we want the forbidden fruit. We want to taste test everything. I mean, like, what's the name? Like, would you rather have, if both things were $10, right? Would you rather get a $10 for a hamburger and some fries and a drink, or would you rather pay $10 to get a 12-course meal where you get to try all different types of things out? You get a burger, a steak, you get all different types of, I don't know, lobster. Like, you're gonna go for the 12-course meal. And I feel like gaming has become a 12-course meal, and we're all trying to consume it, but we just cannot keep up, and it's just impossible. So I feel like that's why a lot of games fall by the wayside. Now, obviously, you have games that break through the barrier, such as Fortnite or even PUBG, because PUBG, regardless if you're a PUBG or a Fortnite fan, maybe you're even both, PUBG is not dead. It's still popping. It's still one of the top 5 games on Twitch. People are still playing that game. People are still playing Fortnite. So every once in a while, games come along and they do get super addicting. But back in the day, one of the main reasons I played the hell out of Gears of War is because Gears of War was the only thing to play. Not to say that the game was fucking amazing. Don't get it twisted. But it was one of the few only great online experiences. And that's actually another point, right? So let's talk about Gears of War. I don't know what came out during the same year, but on the Xbox 360, that's when the online stuff really started to pop off. Obviously, there were other games to play, but there's a difference between a good online experience and just an online experience. Gears of War was a great online experience, even with all its glitches. Shout out to all my crab walkers used to play in rank matches like me and troll people. Nowadays, I feel like the gap has closed. There's no longer a bunch of just online experiences. Most online experiences are good besides EA games because they like to put a bunch of microtransactions in there. But I would argue most online experiences are good, and 2K. But I feel like that gap is widening, closing. So like even indie developers are capable of getting dedicated servers and creating a great online experience. So because you have all this content, a higher quality of content, it makes it harder to maintain a game and keep it popularity. Like you really got to create something that stands out. Otherwise, people are just going to go with the 12-course meal and just kind of sample things here and there and there and there and there. You might play the game for 1 to 3 months and then you're going to drop it and move to the next game. That's why I would say it holds longevity. I don't think it has anything to do with the quality of the games. I think in terms of them being bad, I think it has to do more with the quality of the games being good, and people always want to consume more. I mean, look how fast the internet works. There's a new meme every fucking week, bruh. Like, it's the same thing with gaming, bruh. I don't even know what the fuck they had to do anything, but that would have to be my guess. I just think there's too much content out there. I mean, look at they call the fall season gaming season called October Broketober because it's so much content to consume. And are you gonna sit back and not play all that greatness, or you gonna just stick to one game? The days of a game like World of Warcraft consuming your life are over, I think, unless they do something absolutely unique that it just makes them stand out from the pack. That would have to be my answer to your question. Moving on to other gaming news. This one is just really interesting. I had to put this in my notes. So NBA 2K is 2K19 is due out.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you'll never miss another video. Also consider pledging my Patreon. It helps keep the lights on. There's a link in the description box below. Peace.